Your pay-per-view caption is the last thing a fan's going to see before they make a buying decision. It's going to determine whether they buy the content or not. However, I see a lot of chatters that use captions that look like this. If you really want people to consistently buy your content, you're going to need to have the most intriguing, personal, and inviting captions possible, and here's how you can do that. Now, when you think about it, there's pretty much two ways of structuring captions. Either you can explain what's happening in the video, so that could be something like, oh, now I'm taking my top off. Now I'm playing with this dildo and it's really hot. Or you can be ambiguous. You can not explain what's in the content, not specifically anyway, right? So here are the pros of both. And obviously the pros of one is pretty much the con of the other reversed. You know what I'm talking about, right? So pros of explaining. They probably won't need more information before buying, right? They're not going to ask you, oh, so what's the video? They know what the video is. So for better or worse, they know. There is less risk of chargebacks. You've been transparent, you've told them what the video is, can't be misinterpreted, assuming you were honest, right? Less risk of chargebacks, less likely for them to buy it and be annoyed. Now, being ambiguous. So this would be captions that relate to your sexting, right? So if you're telling a sexting story, these captions will fit in better. I'll get into that in more detail in a second. So like I said, they fit in with your sexting. However you're sexting, whatever tone, whatever you're talking about, there's probably a way to use a caption that will relate to that, no matter what the content is, right? It's less repetitive. So if every time you send a piece of content, you're explaining what happens in it in like a sequence that's meant to be live, and you're going, oh, now I'm taking my top off. That might be really exciting the first time. On the fourth time, probably not so much with most people, right? Not so much. So you can relate it to your sexting, and then it's more about the sexting, what you're actually saying, rather than what's in the video. It's much easier to personalize. So, same thing. If you're sexting, let's say that it's a sub that's more submissive, right? They like being told what to do. If you use a caption that's ambiguous, you could spin like a boob reveal video and make it fit in with this submissive dominant thing, right? You'd be like, oh, if I took, if I did this right in front of you, like, could you resist touching them? So, you're hinting at what's in it, but you're not really being specific, and it's fitting in with the tone that they like. That's just one example. They'll buy even if the content isn't specifically what they want, or they could, right? For better or worse. So they will just be excited by what you're saying and they'll go, cool, content, I want to buy it because I'm impulsive right now, right? On the flip side, there is more risk of chargebacks if you're doing this, especially if you're doing it badly, and they might sometimes ask, what is this video? Now, just to clarify how to actually do these captions. With sexting, just a brief summary, I believe the best way to sell content is to talk about what the fan and creator would be doing if they were together, right? In different stories each time. So really basic, it could be, oh, well, if we were watching a movie together, what would be happening? Like I'd start putting my hand here and then I'd do this and then I'd do this and then right? So as you do that, as the content progresses, you fit it in with that story and say, and then I'd be doing this right above your face. Like, could you resist eating it? Like, the trick is you want to be creative and see if you can somehow link what you're saying to what the content is, even if it's loose, right? Even if it's loosely, you want there to be some similarity, right? Just a little bit. It doesn't have to, but that's when you're more at risk of chargeback. If you say like, wow, like I'd be so wet and blah, 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 but it's like a boob video, it's a little misleading. Some people won't care, some might care, right? Now, in my personal opinion, I prefer being ambiguous. When there's an over-reliance on explaining what the content is, it's going to get boring a lot faster for all of those reasons. Because, like I said, if the fourth time you're like, oh, now I'm taking my pants off, like, it's probably not that exciting anymore. But if you stick with the sexting, there's going to be a reliance on what you're saying, which you can change, versus the content, which you can only change so much. Now, we want to be personalizing our captions. We want to be saying things that we know they are into to make them more likely to buy it. This is really important. And it's why you want to get this information out of them, find out what they're into, record it in the notes, right? So, really simple, use their name where possible. In captions, if you can use their name, now don't overdo this, but it'll be better if you say things like, could you resist touching me if I did this in front of you, Pete? Rather than, could you resist touching me if I did this in front of you? Right? If you do it every time, you can sort of seem like a bot, but it is better to see if you can slip their name in there somewhere, right? More than not. Now, this one's really good. Use their words. So, assuming that you're sexting, well, regardless of what's happening, they're probably going to say like what they want to be doing or what they're into, or, I wish you were doing this. I wish I was doing this to you. You want to look at what they say and integrate it into your caption, their actual words, to make it seem like you're listening to them and what they're saying is like turning you on or whatever, right? So, for example, when you said X, it made me want to Y, like, blah, 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 whatever you're doing in the video, however you want to do it, right? One example. Thinking about doing X, like, it was just too much. It was so hot. So I had to do this. Would you prefer if I X or Y? If I did this or this? That's a really good one. Like if they say, like, I want to bend you over or something, like, would you prefer I bend over or got on top? Like, it's all in the sexting, right? Things like that, little choices, just quoting them, making it seem like you're listening. It's going to work really well, right? This one's huge, and most people don't do this, can't be bothered, but they just are not aware of it at all, right? The dominant versus submissive thing. Now, I'm sure if you've been chatting for a while or you've seen it, you're aware that there are guys that are like really dominant and really submissive. They're into like being told what to do or, telling you what to do. They want the power or they want you to have the power, whatever. Now, if you can use that in your captions based on their preference, it's going to work so well, right? It works so well. Few ways you can do that. So if they're submissive, what I've found is if you like use full stops, if your captions are statements like, you will watch me do this and sit there helpless, blah, 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 like stuff like that, right? Tell them what to do, right? Be assertive. Don't be all like, like, wow, did I do a good job for you? But like, no, that's not going to appeal to a submissive guy, right? For more dominant guys, you want to be being more questioning, saying things like, oh, was this good enough for you? Like sending hearts, like, just make them feel like the man, stroke their ego a bit, that sort of thing. You want to emphasize on things that they're into, right? Really emphasize. So if it's a video, if they're into feet, lots of people are into feet. If if it's just a toy video, like a video of the creator using a toy, but her feet are just in it, coincidentally, you really want to emphasize on like, what would you be doing to my feet while I was doing this in front of you? Like, just emphasize on the things that will sort of push the right buttons. That could be they're into like feet, that could be they're into boobs, that could be they're into a particular item of clothing, stuff like that, right? If you've got an opportunity, seize it. Make it as personal as possible. It'll be way more effective. I really hope you're enjoying the video. If you are, I would really appreciate it if you could leave this video a like. Really helps me out. I drop videos like this multiple times a week, so if you take value from them, consider subscribing. Thank you. Now, something super effective is using questions and challenges in your captions, and I'll explain how to do that now. So, we'll start off with questions. By framing a caption as a question, it almost acts as a call to action. And when you do this, the trick is you're asking a question that would imply that the sub is going to watch it, right? So it's a question they could only answer by watching your content, right? Now, that could be, do you think you could resist eating it if I did this right in front of you, Tom? Emphasis on the this, right? All caps. Is this how you would have done it, or would you have done differently? One of my chatters loves using that. Bit weird, but it seems to work. How long could you last with me doing this, Tom? I don't know why I keep saying Tom. Tom, I don't know. Anyway, basically, you want to create intrigue. You see how these are really, they're ambiguous? And it makes people think like, oh, what is this, right? Now, with that, I did have a chatter that started doing this every caption. They were like, oh, what if I did this and this and this? And then it just becomes like, you're just doing, you're doing it too much. And then it's repetitive, right? So it's just a tool you can use, but try to be creative with how you do this, how you do the questions, right? So you want to make them feel involved in the content, right? Because obviously a lot of the time when you're selling content, you want them to think it's live. So by doing this, you're making them feel involved rather than just being like, wow, it was so hot when I put it inside me, like, and that shit, right? Now, this is a secret little caption or thing you can add to your caption. Do not blame me if this goes wrong, right? Don't blame me. It really works, but it's risky a little bit. If someone's not buying it or you're unsure that they're going to buy it, you really want them to buy it, right? You really want them to buy it. So only do this for like an expensive video and one that they think is live. If you say, did you see the little surprise I threw in for you? Mate, they always buy it because they're like, this must be live. Like she's done something. It's a surprise. I want to see it. Problem is when they buy it, now you have to explain what the surprise is. And before I've said, oh, I winked at you at 2 minutes and 37 seconds. Like, you have to be smart about it. Maybe don't just tell your chatters to do this every time, but you don't want to overuse it as well. But if you can think of a surprise that you could pass off, and it can be something kind of stupid because I'll probably watch it and be happy with it anyway, but it works really well. Now, challenges. This works really well. By gamifying content, making it a game, a challenge, a bit of fun, it makes subs feel more involved. Here's a few ways that you could implement this. So, if you guess how many times I finished, you can have a free surprise. If you can watch this without finishing, I'll take another one on me. If you can guess which of these is my favorite, I'll give you something, right? I wouldn't just use this as your whole caption, put your like sexting and stuff above it, and then just add that at the end, but it's going to make it way more effective, right? Submissive subs, so those subs that are into like the femdom shit and all that, you can give them challenges that are pretty stupid and just go, I want you to watch this while sitting in the corner of your room like a little bitch, like stuff like that. Like, just by using that principle of making it a challenge or a game, it's like a test. You could say like, you better tell me which part's your favorite or I'll punish you, like whatever, right? That's for submissive subs. Does work. It's important that you offer incentives for this. So you could send the next one in the sequence for free. It's this can kind of be looked at as an objection handling method. It is part of my objection handling system. You can see a video that explains the whole thing right there. But basically, you can do that, or you can design your sequences around this concept. So when you're making a sequence, you can go, okay, well, this piece of content is going to be a free reward for, if they watch this one and they guess that right and whatever. Like, set them up so that they win. Like, you don't want it to make it a genuine challenge. The point is that they win, and it just feels exciting and like a bit of a game, bit of fun. Now, something super effective for captioning is creating urgency, but you want to use it sparingly so it doesn't lose its effectiveness. You'll find with most agencies, they'll send out, mass pay-per-views, and every single one will be like, this is my hottest video. I've never made anything like this before. I will unsend it in 5 minutes. It might work once. It won't work the 23rd time. I promise you, right? So I would reserve this for content that's later in sequences. So something that's going to be 200 usually, or a single pay-per-view, like a long video you just send in isolation, something like that. Also, you only want to really use it if you feel like they won't buy it if you don't. So you don't want to just use it for the sake of it. It's kind of like, okay, I feel like he's getting to the point where he's done. So now I'm going to create urgency to like get him over the line with this last one, right? You want to back this up by seeming hesitant to send the content in the first place. So if you're talking to them, if you're sexting, you're like, I want to send you this really hot video. It's the hottest thing ever. You're going to love it. And then you send it. It's like, I'm going to unsend this in 2 minutes because I changed my mind. That makes literally no sense. That's a complete contradiction. You want to be more like, oh, I took this video, you might like it, but I'm really unsure about it. And they'll start going, oh, send it, send it. Like, you'd be like, I don't know. Like, seem really hesitant at first. Then it's like, then you'll send it with a caption like this. Didn't ever think I'd do this, but fuck it. I'll probably freak out and unsend this after 2 minutes. So if you want it, I just get it. The more you push them away with this, if you know what I mean, the more you push them away, the more they'll want it. The less you seem like you want them to get it, and the more nervous you seem about it, the more valuable it's going to seem. And psychologically, reverse psychology, they are going to want it. But the second you start begging them to buy it, not going to work. So if you send this and they don't buy it, and you start going like, what if I made it 100? Well, now, obviously, that's all bullshit, right? You want to be, if they don't buy it, it's better to be like, oh, that I'm glad, to be honest, like that was too much to send. Like, that's real urgency. That's making it seem like you actually care. So just don't resort to typical chatter shit. Like I was saying, don't just be sexting and then all of a sudden be like, baby, this is so hot that I think I'll have to unsend it. So get it before time runs out. Just don't do that. Can work really well if you unsend it, right? If they go, oh, I'm not sure, and then you unsend it, and now like, if they say, oh, I'll buy it later, and you unsend it, and then you resend it, then they'll be like, fuck, I gotta get it. Like, I gotta get it because she's finally giving me a chance. Now she unsent it. Like, this is a big deal. This is a big deal, right? If you use it with challenges, it can make the challenge more effective. So you can do this a lot. Like if you're doing the challenge thing a lot, you can say, oh, this offer will only stand now. Like, if you can guess how many times I finished, I'll give you another one or something like that. And you say like, if you want that deal, that's just now, right? So you can do that a bit, but if you want to seem hesitant to send something like you're nervous, which will really make them buy it, that's a little tool you should pull out if you need to, but don't do it all the time. Now, next, I really recommend that you watch my objection handling guide. It's going to really help you to sell to those more difficult people, and that's where the real money is. So you can watch that right there. Trust me, do it. Enjoy the rest of your day.